All right, guys, we're probably going to go to one of the seemingly weirdest books of the Bible. It gets a real bad rap in our modern day, and that is the book of Leviticus. That's right, you heard me right, the book of Leviticus. Many times we kind of look at it, anyone who reads it there, I'm going to read the whole Bible in a year, and if they can get through, Genesis, Exodus, they get to Leviticus, then they're like, whoa, wait, what? This is weird stuff. We're killing animals, we're doing this, don't touch that, all kinds of stuff. The whole book is really around this problem of God is holy, we are not. Pointing that magnifying glass on what are we going to do about it? And there's kind of these prescribed things in Scripture that have all to do with this concept of God being holy, we are not. How can we approach him then? And so the book of Leviticus, actually, if understood properly and looked at properly, it's not all that odd or that weird. We have to use a little bit of our understanding from day one about how to study Scripture. And a couple of those main things will come into big play here. One of them being historical background, knowing kind of where the mindset of the ancient people were at this time and what God had been communicating to them and how he met them on their level and showed them things to put that magnifying glass on this holiness concept. So let's break apart the book of Leviticus real quick just to kind of show you. The whole book is made up of 7 different parts, and they cover 3 core ideas. The 3 core ideas are the ideas of rituals, the ideas of the priesthood or priests that will kind of operate as this go-between, and purity, things they need to do to be pure or to be clean. And so these rituals and priests and purity can kind of be thought of in these 7 sections. And where we start with is section 1 is chapters 1 through 7. Chapters 1 through 7 deals with rituals. And then chapters 8 through 10 deals with the priesthood or the priests and what they need to do. Chapters 11 through 15 deal with purity. And then we pick up in chapters 18 and 20 with, guess what? Some more purity. And then chapters 21 through 22, we get more about the priests. And then chapters 23 through 27, we get more rituals and celebrations and things like that as well. But there are these rituals. So we kind of have rituals on the beginning and end, and then we have priests, and then we have purity. And dead center, you probably noticed that I skipped chapters 16 and 17. Chapter 16 and 17 are dead center of this whole thing, and it's something called the Day of Atonement, which we're going to talk about in the next section. But first, let's talk about this idea of these purity and these rituals and these priests. The whole idea seems kind of odd to us. When you read through it, you start seeing things like, don't touch this and don't touch that, and if you have, then you got to go bathe for seven days, stay out of this for 7 days, do this. It seems on the surface is like, this is just weird stuff. But what it's doing is being very specific for the Israelite people and for us to try to see and understand things. Because if you look at all of these purity laws, is what they're called, together, you look at them all, they all have an association with the thing that you are not supposed to touch or be a part of is anything associated with death. So that could be things from dead animals and dead body parts to bodily fluids that have to do with death and all kinds of things like that. It's all this idea of death, the impure thing. And if you're a part of that or you touch that, you become impure, you become unclean now. And so now you need to be put back clean or purified and cleansed from it. And this whole book is kind of giving us this idea of there's rituals and there's the priests that are kind of these special go-betweens here that kind of come in and come out and help activate these kind of cleansing ideas. And then in the dead center, we have this thing called the Day of Atonement, which is kind of the pinnacle of all this purification and all of these rituals that are given to help understand this idea of the state of God is clean and pure, and you're impure or unclean. And there's this process because you can't just come into the presence of God, into the Holy of Holies, which was a way that they kind of had this thing called a tabernacle. It was a tent, basically, a very large tent, very ornate, that was where the presence of God dwelt, and you can't just come in being unclean because you have been touched by unclean things and you're contaminated. You can't just come into the presence of God. A really great analogy of this is kind of the idea of the sun. The sun is a big, bright, beautiful thing. It gives life to everything here on the planet, right? But if we were to get in a spaceship and say, I'm going to go touch the sun, no. Its raw power is so powerful. It's such a good thing for us here. But if you get too close to it without the right, things, and I don't even think we've made anything that we could get that close to it. But what is it going to do? It's going to destroy you. And so this is God pointing out and saying, this is who I am, this is how I am, and I want you to be a part of this with me. And in fact, I created you to be, but you are now unclean and impure, and you need to be cleansed. And he gives us all of these analogies for the Israelite people in the ancient time to understand you're not to be associated with death because I created you for life, and so I need you to be cleansed and purified. And the Day of Atonement in chapter 16 and 17 is right dead center. That's what we're going to talk about next.